Hey everyone, this is Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and I just wanted to very quickly show you how I am sewing the covers for this new kit that I'm selling from the shop right now called A Stitch in Time. It occurred to me that it might be a good idea just to show the order that I sew things in for those of you who are buying the kits without a finished cover. You can see under here is just the plain file folder, and I've got some fabric paper clipped into place. I did the outer cover first, and this yellow fabric has a lot of strings, and it's not a problem. You may end up with a few around your feet on the floor, but it sews and trims really easily once you get started. The first thing I did was put the gold cover on, and I cut it down. I didn't try to cut it exactly to size at first. I leave enough to give me some room to play with while I'm sewing. And then I cut this piece down to the size I wanted and put that on. And then I did the little piece of gold on top of that. If you remember on the other one that I finished, let me grab it. I had the little doily piece. I did that last because I didn't stitch all the way around it. It's only stitches across here, and then the button was put on and just sewn through this yellow part. The reason I'm saving the yellow fabric for last is that I didn't want any of these stitches all over the place. I wanted to be able just to see the fabric. So I will be back to show you the rest. Okay, so I'm back after putting just the first layer of yellow in to the journal. That's the inside, and then a pocket will go on as well. I did not trim yet. Once you have this sewn into place, you can go right around the edge. If you'll notice, I tried to get my stitching out to the very edge of the gold because it helps to prevent the unraveling. I like a little bit of unraveling, but for this really silky material, I thought it might help not to have too much. We are having quite a storm outside. I don't know if you can hear the rain. It's amazing. So anyway, going back to this, when I put the gold fabric down, I didn't go all the way out to the edge. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, you're going to end up with layers of stitching, which this just makes it prettier. It's called a junk journal after all. And just be careful if you sew out to the very edge. You don't want to clip. You don't want to clip your stitches. So you can see on the inside, I just have that one layer of stitching. Okay, I'm going to stop again and just get this like it exactly should be, and I will, like it should exactly be, however you say that. And I'll put the little pocket in, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back after sewing in the pocket, and here it is. You can see that on this as well, I have some fabric to trim off. I did turn this under before sewing it in to make a little hem so that there aren't strings all inside the journal. So I'm going to go ahead and trim. If it looks like I have more of an edge hanging off over here, I did that on purpose because the fabric was just a little bit thicker on this side, and I wanted the pocket to be even all the way across. Isn't this fabric beautiful? Oh, I just love it. Okay, so I will be back yet again. I'm here after trimming the edges on the pocket, and I have this little piece of a table scarf or doily that I'm going to sew on. I did want to mention a couple of other things. with this fabric being so silk-like, this may be silk. I bought a whole like roll of it, an industrial sized roll, everything that was left on it. So I'm not, if there's a tag, I didn't see it, but I did see the price, the original price, and it's a really nice fabric, and that's not the point. Well, it's part of the point, I guess, because we all love really beautiful, nice things. But the point is that it's just very easy to unravel. And you will notice as you're first sewing on your cover and working with this, you'll get a lot of unraveling, not a lot, but some, and little pieces. But as you keep working with it and putting your pages in, I just keep trimming the little edges that I want to keep trimmed so that it turns out exactly like I want it to. And to me, it's not a problem. It does stop at some point though with your stitch around here, with all the stitches. And a little bit, I must have static, that won't let go of me. And it's kind of charming. It is a junk journal and it is all about textiles, so it's just part of the personality of this. I also wanted you to know that there's not any overlapping on the edges, that it's just sewn on the outer edges on this file folder, which makes it really easy. So I'll be back. So the doily, or the little piece of the doily, is sewn into place. And I wanted to show you how I do the button. I've already got some embroidery thread on a needle, and I'm just going to put this needle through where I want the button to be. And let's leave plenty hanging down on this side. And I am going to take it through the button and back down. We want to make sure we do it so that this is securely attached to the front of the book. You don't have to worry too much about tightening up the button right now, except you want it tight enough that it's not going to get tangled. You don't want it just swinging down and around so that the thread gets tangled. Let's make sure we're getting part of that doily on the needle. And there we go, up one more time. And go right back through the same way and down very close to the same place. It's really, really raining outside. Here we go. So let's pull it through, and now let's tighten these strings up. There, that pulled our button nice and tight. And I'm going to tie this in a knot. And of course this one's a little lower, so it's going to be completely hidden by the pocket. Let's do that 1, 2 times. May go ahead and tie it one more time because it's just going to be hiding down there in the pocket. So there we go. There's that. Takes it a while to sort of settle in. Now I'm going to do the pom-pom trim on this one. I ended up with quite a bit of this trim, so I'm just going to cut a piece down. Your pieces will already be at a good length, and I don't want all of this on the inside. There's that piece. So what I will do to sew this into place is just lay that right on the inside and take it to the sewing machine, and then we'll trim off any excess. Okay, so here is the completed cover. It's just like, pretty much just like the first one I did that I kept for myself. The difference, of course, as I mentioned, is in the shape of the doily piece or the size. The button is a little different. There's so much that's one of a kind. The pattern that shows up on the little gold square is different, but they both have the pom-pom trim. They've got the pocket inside. This one's ready to sew into. And again, you can do your cover any way that you want to. That's one of the exciting things about making a journal that's your own. You can do it however you want to. I mean, you could put this pretty fabric on the outside. I didn't do that. I know how much I have going on in my craft room all the time and my workshop, and I just felt like this fabric would be safer on the inside. Not that I'm gonna let it get messed up, but that fabric just seems so delicate and light. I wanted it on the inside of mine. But again, you could do this in so many different ways. You don't have to put this on the front. It's pretty without it, as you saw earlier. While we're here, I wanted to show you a couple of things that I've done in my journal and the way that I'm keeping mine. I think I told you how inspired I was by the colors and the fabrics, and I really want to incorporate more of that kind of thing into my life. I raised my children and spent nearly a quarter of a century in a very, very old house, 100 years old. The design was such that it just called for, I guess, sort of country, as far as, and when I say country, I mean, I'm not talking about the 80s kind of country, but just white chenille bedspreads, curtains that had maybe pom-pom trim or just cotton, pretty things that just felt like an old farmhouse. And I just didn't have a lot of this type of color in my house, and now I really want to. So I'm using mine sort of as an inspiration journal. So you can see right here in the front, I have already, well, I changed the sari silk that I had in my tag to these little bright colors, and you can do yours anyway as well. I pulled out this book page that I really love. Look at all these folded pieces of fabric. I mean, I just love this. So one of the things, the room that I'm starting in for me is my bathroom. I have this wonderful little bathroom that I love. It's very small, but I just love it. It's got white tile floor and a window that looks out onto my garden, and I want to do some things to bring some color into it. One of the things I want to do is get some new towels, and I love just seeing this folded stack of different patterns and different colors. Then I have a note here to myself, Mother's Day. My first project in the house is my bathroom. I want a new bright rug in there to replace the dark blue. I love peacock blues. I also want a new scarf to go over the bathroom window, and I would like a basket other than what I am using for countertop accessories. Tassels would be nice for the scarf over the window. And of course there's my original little postcard that I had. I pulled out this piece of paper and stamped Magpie on it because it was talking about collecting linens and people who magpie buy. And those of you who collect textiles, you know what that means. I mean, you're out picking things up like a magpie, just collecting every shiny thing. And I guess I want to grow my collection too. And getting to this page, I just fell in love with these little pieces of paper. I have a journal that's going into the shop a little bit later, but I did a lot of stamping to get some of the pages embellished just right with my little bird stamp. I especially love this one. I'll put that one on top. I love the yellow, the orangey red, and the blue. And you can see the little birds in the background. So I'm just putting things like this in mine to keep track of ideas and things that inspired me. And that's all I've got in mine at this point. But there's room for a lot more. So I'm going to stop now, and I will post this video about sewing the cover so that those of you getting a cover that's not finished, you'll have at least the tutorial for the way I did mine. And you're probably all way beyond me anyway, so I just kind of wanted to share. And thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.